In this video, we got another episode of the Start Bench Cut series. Basically, if you guys don't know what the series is, you guys will let me know 3 different players on Twitter at X7Tanaka. I'll send out a tweet asking for 3 different players for a Start Bench Cut vid, and then you guys can see people will let me know 3 different players that I can use for this video. So if you guys want to let me know also in the YouTube comment section down below, let me know 3 different players and I'll tell you guys who I would start, who I'd bench, and then who I would cut. But yeah, let's just get right into the video. I think the premise is pretty simple, and you guys have probably seen a couple of these episodes by now. So starting off here with my boy PJ Hoop2 Baller, he's gonna say Oscar, Pete, and Harden, which is a very close debate and all very good offensive point guards. I would say for me personally, I'm probably gonna start Pete Maravich. I think he's better offensively than Oscar Robertson, and I think he's also maybe a little bit better offensively than a James Harden as well. So I would start Pete Maravich, and then for between benching, you know, Oscar or Harden, I would probably lean towards Oscar, even though I love that Harden card and still feel like he's one of the better point guards in the game, especially on the offensive end. I think for this one, I'm gonna start it off with starting Pete Maravich, benching Oscar Robertson, and then cutting James Harden. Next one is going to be Jonathan Isaac, Zion, and Aaron Gordon. This one I feel like is pretty self-explanatory, at least in my opinion. Start Jonathan Isaac. I think he's one of the better small forwards in the game, probably the second best defender in my team. Zion I think is better at small forward than Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon might be a little bit better of a card, but if we're talking about at small forward, I would definitely take Zion over a guy like Aaron Gordon. So for this one, going to be in this order: start Isaac, I should say, bench Zion, and then I cut Aaron Gordon as well. Next one is going to be Sengun, Luke Walton, and Scotty Barnes. This one is very close, at least in my opinion. Like if we're comparing Sengun and Scotty Barnes, it really just comes down to preference and whose jump shot you like more, because they're both going to be super good defenders. If I could spell Sengun's name right, holy Evan, man, can we type properly? Oh my god, I cannot type right now. But yeah, Scotty Barnes and Sengun I think is a very close debate. For me personally, I'll probably be cutting Luke Walton, even though I think he's a really good point guard and definitely is really elite, but I think it's really between Sengun and Scotty Barnes for who's going to start and then who's going to bench. So Sengun is 6'10" with a 7'2" wingspan, so it does have 2 inches on Scotty Barnes and a way better player, maybe not a way better, but does have a better player build. Stats wise, I mean, Scotty Barnes is going to be the better defender, and I think all around their stats are very similar. And like I said, that's why I don't think there's too big of a debate, you know, when it comes to their stats. It really just comes down to their animations and whose jump shot you do prefer. Scotty Barnes does have a way better size up with the Steve Francis size up, but then Sengun does have the Trey escape, which is a little bit better in my opinion. They both got the normal leaner. And jump shot wise, I prefer Sengun's release, and he is 6'10". So I think in my opinion, I would start Sengun, bench Scotty Barnes, and then cut Luke Walton. But once again, a very close debate between all 3 of those point guards. Any one of them you could honestly say would start, bench, and cut. Like you could start Luke Walton, bench Scotty Barnes, and cut Sengun, and that would be a very fair, accurate list as well. But next one is going to be Taco, Kareem, and Porzingis, maybe the 3 best power forwards in the game. I would say for me personally, I still think Kareem is the best power forward in the game. He's the most all-around best power forward in the game, just card wise, stats wise, badges, animations. I would say Taco is probably my number 2 guy though, so I would start Kareem, bench Taco, and then cut Porzingis. I like KP a lot more at the center position. Obviously, yes, he can be very glitchy at power forward, being 7'3", but I do think he's better at center just because his defense really isn't that amazing, and he's not like super quick. So I feel like playing him at the center position, at least in my opinion, is a little bit better. So for this one, I would start Kareem, bench Taco Fall, and then cut Kristaps. Next one is going to be Sengun, Ben, and Magic. Very similar to like the Scotty Barnes and the Luke Walton one. You could really start any of these guys, bench any of these guys, and cut any of them. At least in my opinion, I'm probably going to start Sengun, and then once again, it's the Ben and Magic debate, the debate of all tales. Like, I mean, like you honestly flip a coin, bro. I'm not gonna lie, when people ask me like who's better between Ben and Magic, I just don't know. I change my opinion probably every single second of the day. Sometimes I think Magic, sometimes I think Ben. This time around, I'm going to say Ben Simmons. I don't know why. I'm just going to pick Ben Simmons because they're so close. I really can't decide. So I would start Sengun, bench Ben Simmons, and then cut Magic Johnson. But once again, very close debate. Next one is going to be Ferry, Bantam, and Isaac. I do like this one. I like this one a lot. I think these are all 3 really good small forwards. I like Ferry a lot. I would say he's probably going to start Yeah, I would say he's going to start over Bantam and Isaac, and then between Isaac and Bantam, it really depends what you need from your small forward. I mean, Jonathan Isaac, in some situations, is the second best small forward in the game, maybe even the best, just because of his defense, and he's probably like the perfect 3-and-D card in the game. Mike Bantam is a little bit more well-rounded, right? He's 6'9" with a 7'1" wingspan. Jonathan Isaac does have a little bit of height, and obviously wingspan and player build as well. Talking about the stats, obviously Jonathan Isaac going to be a better defender, plus 10 block, plus 4 +4 steal, +1 perimeter, and a +5 interior defense does make him definitely better on the defensive end. Offensively, I mean, the stats wise aren't like crazy for Mike Bantam. Like, he's only got like a +2 speed with ball, +2 driving dunk. I mean, Jonathan Isaac's actually got the higher 3 ball, so I think stats wise, Jonathan Isaac is definitely way better than Mike Bantam, but when it really comes down to animations, this is where stuff gets a little bit tricky, because I feel like Mike Bantam does have way better SIGs, or maybe not way better, but definitely has better SIGs and a better jump shot as well. But for me personally, guys, I know it might sound crazy to say, and this might be because I don't have Mike Bantam, but I'm playing Jonathan Isaac over Bantam. I just feel like for most lineups in the game, I feel like Isaac fits that role better than Bantam, but in some lineups, Bantam might be better. So for me personally, I'm starting Danny Ferry, benching Jonathan Isaac, and cutting Mike Bantam. But once again, just like a lot of 3 players on this list, very, very close at that small 4 position. Next one is going to be Opal Magic, Luke Walton, or Sengun at the 1. So we've had this, these 3 point guards a couple times now. Sengun at point guard, once again, I would start. I like him as the second or the best point guard in the game. Number 2, I would say, is probably going to be Magic. That's a close one, man. Honestly, Magic and Luke Walton is so close. I'm starting to think Luke Walton might honestly be better. So I'm going to say Sengun starting, bench Luke Walton, and then cut Magic Johnson. It's such a close debate, though, between these 2 point guards in Luke Walton and Magic as well. So we're getting a lot of the similar ones. For this one, once again, like I said, I would start Sengun, bench Ben, and then cut Magic. Yeah, we're just getting a lot of Luke Waltons. I want to find a different position. So the next one is going to be Yao, Dark Matter Kristaps, and Dark Matter D-Rob. This one I feel like is pretty easy for me. It's going to be start Yao Ming, still the best center in the game. I don't think that's really a debate, at least in my opinion. Who I'm going to bench is obviously between Kristaps and D-Rob. I would say is close, but I think I like Kristaps more at the center position over D-Rob. I think D-Rob is the better power forward, but I think I would take, Kristaps at the center position. So I would start Yao Ming, bench Kristaps, and then cut D-Rob. Next one is going to be Taco, D-Rob, and Dino. Once again, I feel like this one's pretty simple for me. I mean, I guess Taco and D-Rob, I guess, is a close debate. For me personally, though, I think it's probably going to be start Taco Fall and then bench D-Rob. Dino's obviously getting cut. I just don't think he's on the same level as a Dark Matter D-Rob or a Taco Fall. So stats and badges wise, obviously D-Rob's going to look a lot better than a Taco Fall, like having that plus 26 speed, plus 26 acceleration. But I will say Taco plays way faster in game than 64 speed. He feels like he's almost got 85 speed. So on paper, yes, D-Rob's going to look to be a lot better at power forward, but what you guys got to remember is Taco is 7'6" with an 8'2" wingspan. Like, he is taller than D-Rob's wingspan. Do you realize how crazy? He's taller than D-Rob's wingspan. And D-Rob is not a small person. He's got a really long wingspan, but Taco Fall is taller than this guy's wingspan. That makes literally no sense to me. But yeah, that just shows how tall Taco Fall is. And he's also got an 8'2" wingspan. I mean, this is one of the most broken cards in the game right now. So that's what you guys got to take into account, that Taco is literally the most glitchy card in the game. So for me, I would say start Taco Fall, bench D-Rob, and then cut Dino. Next one is going to be Evan, Carlo, and DBG. Well, I'm an absolute fraud, so we're going to be starting Warlow. Shout out the GOAT. Did lose in 250 yesterday, 2 days ago, I think. But yeah, yesterday when you guys are watching this. But shout out to Carlo, man. Absolutely W man of a streamer and a player. So W Warlow. Warlow is definitely starting. And then probably bench DBG. He clears me. I mean, I'm an absolute fraud. So I'd say start Carlo, bench DBG, and then cut Evan. Next one is going to be Rudy Gay, Isaac, and Bantam. Another very close one at that small forward position. I would say once again, it's just between Isaac and Bantam, and then I would cut Rudy Gay. So for me personally, I would start Jonathan Isaac, bench Bantam, and then cut Rudy Gay. I'm going to kind of fly through a couple of these ones. Not really going to say too much explanation, but just going to go through and say who I would start, who I'd bench, and then who I would cut. So next one is going to be Jimmy Buckets, James Harden, Ben 10. I would say start Jimmy Butler, bench Ben Simmons, and cut James Harden. Next one is going to be Ferry, Bantam, and T-Mac at small forward. I mean, T-Mac's a shooting guard, but start T-Mac, bench Ferry, and cut Bantam. Next one is going to be Ferry, Bantam, and Bill. I would start Bill. I do think he's the best small forward in the game. I'd bench Ferry and then cut Bantam. Next one is going to be Ben Simmons, Luke Walton, and Scotty Barnes. I would start Scotty Barnes, probably bench Ben Simmons, and cut Luke Walton, but once again, very close debate at point guard. Next one is going to be Stoudemire, Blake, and Danny Manning. So a little bit interesting one here of some kind of pink diamond budget cards. I would say for me personally, I don't know what position we're talking about. I guess at power forward, I'd probably start Danny Manning, cut Stoudemire, and cut or start Danny Manning, bench Stoudemire, and cut Blake. I don't think Blake's really that good at power forward. Next one is going to be Al Horford, Cam Reddish, and Corey Brewer. I think this one's actually a close debate between Corey Brewer and Al Horford. I would say start Cam Reddish, then probably cut Al Horford and bench Corey Brewer. I mean, Actually, I think Al Horford's probably a little bit better than Corey, so I would start Cam Reddish, bench Al Horford, and then cut Corey Brewer. Last one of the video, guys, here. I'm just going to find a good one for the last one. So Jimmy Buckets, LaMelo, and Sengun. I think, in my opinion, these are the top 3 point guards in the game. If you want to argue a Scotty Barnes, you want to argue a LaMelo, or sorry, you want to argue like a Ben Simmons, you want to argue a Magic, that can definitely be debatable as well. For me, though, these are the top 3 point guards. I would say I've changed my mind. I think Jimmy Butler is the new best point guard in the game, and then I'd probably cut Sengun. All right, sorry, I'd bench Sengun and then cut LaMelo Ball. I know it's crazy to say because LaMelo is still a very good point guard, but for this one, I would start Jimmy Butler, bench Sengun, and then cut LaMelo. But let me know in the comment section down below. Like I said earlier, 3 different players who you guys want to see, who I'd bench, who I'd start, and then who I would cut as well. But hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.